Listen for me?
Yes, now.
Welcome to our Appy Hour, getting started with that, and a jam-packed agenda for you today. Question for today's Appy Hour is how using Google Apps for education. And you can't get more, more fundamental than that. Where do you start? And we're focusing on the app doc, but we've done other Appy Hours that kind of have guides and other such, so we invite you to watch them. But if you're going to get started, what better place to start than this wonderful app? So your Google Apps for EDU account, which instructional folks and MCPS all have access to right now. A ton of apps, from slides to forms to Excel sheets, drawings, search, and of course docs. Any of these is a great place to start. It really depends on you, who you are, and what you're doing in your classroom. And instructional technology specialists like NI, it's our job to come in and help make sure match of what you're teaching with matches the technology. But for many of us, you really can't go wrong if you say, I'm going to start with docs first. Your account and unlock the power of docs, you of course need to be logged in to your Google for EDU account. The email I get when folks try to get to our support site later in the chat box is they tell me they can't get in. Well, 9 times out of 10, they're trying to log in with a personal Gmail account, and that just won't work. You will need to use your MCPS account, which is about similar to our Outlook account. Coming with a first name, a middle initial, your last name, and that mcpsmd.net. I can't tell many times, and if this is happening to you, give me a smiley face in the chat. I accidentally typed .org at the end of this email. Strange. It's one of those things, you're so used to it. But if you log in with your account, here's mine. Elaine, you're with me. Marcia, you're with me. Absolutely, guys. But our email looks a little bit different. This is how you unlock the power of everything we're talking about today. And from anywhere, anytime, and any device, and any browser. But remember that the best one is, of course, going to be Chrome. You're going to get the best experience if you log into your Chrome browser, which is beginners, something that we're using IE for years. Internet Explorer was MCPS's only. Well, now have there's a new digital brand in town. It's Chrome, and you get your best experience from there. Stuff is completely new to you. If you really are feeling, hey, this is new, we're going to do some of the cool journey of a day. But also bear in mind that we have these little online courses. They all run maybe 10 minutes. And they give you a great bang for your buck when you're thinking about some of the basics to can really experience. So if you're watching this on a recorder, you watch it later, know that these courses are here for you and really helpful. What some of these basics, and that's going to let us jump in and tap into our classroom expert for today. Jessica Wolkes is an English teacher at Northwest High School, and was one of our pilot teachers, the first folks to get a Chromebook. Jessica, how are you doing today?
How are you today, Carrie?
When there's no snow in the forecast, I'm a happy woman. What can I say?
Absolutely.
And introduce yourself and a little bit about your teaching background for everybody.
Yeah, my name is Jessica Wolkes. I just got married, so some of you might know me as Foreman. I love getting married. Great experience for all you married people out there. But back to the subject, I've been teaching for 8 years. I was a teacher in Virginia for 5 years. I've been with MCPS for 3. Throughout the 8 years, I've taught grades 6, 8, 9th, 10th, 11th, level AP, honors, and as well as writing, test prep, and film is lit. So I've really kind of run the gauntlet with different ways in which to use technology in the classroom at levels. And I've been really, really enjoying the Google Apps for Education and look forward to sharing what I know.
I believe you have On-level English, and you're doing AP right now. Those are, and one more prep, right? One more this year?
It's 3. That tends to be my lucky number. I have 9th grade on-level English, and I have AP language this year, and then the literature is film. We refer to as film as lit for different reasons.
Still on a ringer today, because she said not only had this would be her year of experience with Chrome, she's also taught a gamut of English, and they'll have no power over this, and I don't have a crystal ball. There's rumors floating that the next step to get Chromebooks will be English. So we're doing our Appy hour today is a conversation in 5 parts that felt very witty to me. And what Jessica has done when we prepped for this is reflected on her experience from the beginning to end, and how they're thinking, maybe you haven't had them in the Chromebooks in your classroom all year, and you really started using them yet. Maybe you were waiting to part to be over. We know some people did that. Or maybe you're going to get them fresh at the beginning of next year or the end of this year. So what we're trying to take you through, starting with prepping and going to growing, what do you need the perspective of a classroom teacher to get rid of this stuff? Let's start with prepping. One of the first things people ask me, and so now I'm going to ask you, is Chromebooks have been in other grades, they've seen them in social studies, or they've been in 6th grade. Do you think they know it? Like, do you think they get Chromebooks and gas? Like, with the kids right now, what can I expect out of those students the first day I ask them to turn them on? Jessica, what do you think?
We see technology at such a different way, where we go, wow, how can we use this in our classroom and help kids learn? And from my experience, and I know everyone out there, kids hear the word technology and they go, cool, I can go on YouTube and SoundCloud and basically make my personal soundtrack while I'm in the classroom. I always get a chuckle out of that when they first, hear we're using Chromebooks. And I think what's important is, even if students have some level of understanding of how to use a Chromebook, you need to start at the basics. Like you were saying, some teachers have had Chromebooks, they're waiting to use them for different reasons. So when my students come in, even if they've used Chromebooks, I don't know what level of experience yet. And I think it's very easy for us to say, well, this generation grew up with technology, they should know how to use it. And it's new to all of us. And it actually made me feel more confident starting because I was a newbie in front of the classroom making mistakes, and all made mistakes together. So I think keeping that in mind from a teacher perspective, you're going to be fresh with the students at the same time. You're going to be learning together. So in that sense, I started off, at the very first thing of why we're using it. And in that sense, Chromebooks are for education. And of course, they were like, oh, is that all we're going to do? But the remainder of the class periods and the more time that we spent with the Chromebooks, there they saw the different ways in which we can utilize it for our advantage.
And when you're prepping, so in your prepping, your first day, all right, so the kids, we're all in this game together. The kids are going to crack open the Chromebooks on the first day. What do you think they need to know or be aware of before you let them start using them? What do they need to know?
The first thing I do is going to be to remind them of privacy, for sure. And I use my Promethean board. I basically go into Hapara, which some of you may be familiar with, but it's a way where we can see all of our students, which you're looking at the dashboard now. And I let students know, look, whatever you guys do, whether it's email, chat, have a document open, whatever you're looking at on the current screen, I'm going to see it. And not only will I see it at MCPS, but also I have the same privacy account too. So it lets them know that we're all on the same level. And of course, they're going to ask why, and that's the question I'm looking for. Explain to them because it's a virtual educational community. And grumble at first, it has never been brought up again. I've been using Chromebooks for a year and a half now. We were the first, one of the first to pilot in the middle last year. And once they saw that, okay, everything's being observed, I never had a lot of funny business, and this is dealing with all grade levels and all different ability levels in terms of honors, AP, and on level. So I think from the bat, just letting them know everything is really transparent makes a huge difference.
I know, and what I'm showing you here is Hapara. It's another app. Don't worry, it's not the first one you need to know to get kind of thinking about this stuff, but it is one that we support and help people learn. And the part about it is it lets you see what kids are doing. I know I've oriented a lot of kids. What's fun is they go, you can see everything I'm doing on my computer, and I stand behind the kid and say, I can see it right now. I'm looking at you. And so I get them to realize privacy in the long run, but also that this is an environment and we're here to keep you safe. That's why we watch you. Once you do that, I have to agree with you. It seems like the kids really come on board.
I had fun with it too. I was like, okay, who's playing such and such game? And, Evan, you have on YouTube right now. And it was a way, again, to break the ice. We had a little bit of fun with it. And really, I've never gotten challenged again. So it's a good way to kind of set up, one, the environment, and also classroom management, which I know we'll get into, but it's just as important in the virtual world as it is in, with their kids in the real desks.
And before we pull off of looking at my screen here, this tab doesn't look that exciting to folks out there, but each of these training students is connected on their Chromebook. If they were, you would be seeing a shot of all of the tabs they've opened. So if they have, as Jessica mentioned, a game open or something silly, it would show here and you can close it. And also on current screen, you actually see the screen, which is great for behavior management. You can see what they're doing. It's also great if you want to capture, let's say they have a great thesis statement and you want to capture a picture of it and show it to everybody. It also has instructional implications. Hapara is something you want to put in your, put in your teacher pouch. Oh, okay, I need to make sure that this is a useful tool for me. But it's also something that kind. So it's not something you know everything about right now. Throw in the chat a quick little link if you're watching this on recording or again, and our Hapara support site, which will help you, get the hell all that good stuff. Is so you prep your kids. They're aware of privacy, they're aware of what you can see, and they know kind of the rules of the game. The next one is creating, and that's you've got to make something for them to use. And I'm going to take a quick of our now I've referenced it in a couple different ways. I'm going to go to Drive and show you. This Drive, if you've never been in before, it's where all of your documents are stored. And you create a new doc by clicking on the New button. That's how you create anything new, and clicking on Doc. Well, that will give everyone a heads up. You can keep talking using chat. If you roll your cursor to the top of the screen, there's a bubble that looks like chat. As you click it, your chat will pop up in your window, and you'll be able to see the conversation. It's good just to make sure that everybody's with me. Use smiley face emoticon or other emoticon if you have another emotion rolling out there, and know that you continue to talk with me using the chat. Great. That's about as easy as it is. You go into your Drive, you click New, and it will pop up a brand new document for you. You also, of course, access any of the documents that you have made in the past by clicking Drive, roll over, and go ahead and open them up. I have created a little doc here that to join me in. If you are logged into your account and want to join me, you could click this link and it will open up the same document for you on your screen. Now, I bet it's pretty much Microsoft Word circa 2007. If you're using Microsoft Word back in the day, you'll notice all these little menus. They're very familiar. You'll notice your quick tabs up here. Once you did your new doc, adding text is as easy as typing. You're used to, like indenting text, by clicking on indent. I have my least favorite pet peeve is when people indent text by or tabbing. I do love when people use the real indent tools. All those things you come to expect, but now can you do them individually? You do them with friends. So up here, I can see that Lisa, hi Lisa, Lisa's with us. Jessica, Susan, you're in, and Lynn are all in my document, and they are all typing and collaborating. And Jessica, when you have your kids do kind of their first docs, have everybody get in and do silly stuff. Like this is one of the first things you did with kids, isn't it?
I think any English teacher would say we were very excited that we could make a doc and not have a student lose a paper. That was where we first started. Oh, Lisa, a picture there. So I basically did to show a little bit about the document works is I created a class document, no different than what you have, and I let students see what it means to edit a document. Of course, they got really excited. A lot of students started editing in, and the pros was we created a class document. And then also saw the detriment of it, which was some students deleted the directions. You're going to have somebody who wants to start a chat, and then you've got 50 kids chatting. And it became funny. It also became a great learning experience where they were able to see the pros and cons of the editing. It helps them understand what to do and what not to do when we were working on a class document or any shared doc for that matter.
And getting used to working with and embedding kids in a document is really kind of one of those skills kids develop over time. Just like I got used to different types of group work, they get used to our different protocols, they get used to these pieces. It's not every day that you would ever throw 30 kids in one document. It's chaotic. But getting them in and playing around with those tools, they have to learn the rules and kind of how to play nice, if you were to say. Yeah, I know we have some elementary folks. How to play with each other within the doc. You can see here, you do all these different pieces. I love to at least share that if you're a font hound like I am, and if you are, let me know in the chat. You can actually come in and add even more fonts. So if you love fonts like I do, you can come in and just click on more and really, really add to your document. Super easy. And let me see, I've just given you. Pretty much you've got Word here. But when you go beyond Word, well, that comes in that collaboration piece. And two text tools I'm going to show you. And then, of course, I'm going to ask Jessica how she uses them. But let me show you first. This is comment. Now, when you are giving feedback to a student, you want to say that you love Google Docs too. Your comment is, I agree, right? Well, I can come here and write it in. Me too. But they're up there. I am adding my words in their document. I don't even see it, right? So instead, I'm going to highlight I love Google Docs too. Click on comment. Then here. Two. So what I'll do is insert a star conversation around the work. And if somebody else wants to come and add a comment to it, like if Lynn agrees and she wants to say, me too, I love it, Lynn can come in and add comments to my me too and conversation. Imagine how you told a kid, I'm not sure if I like this thesis state, can you do a better job? And we dialogue running around the comments on the side. When they go, we can resolve them or delete them or edit them. Oh, Ian agrees. We had this conversation. She loves it too. Is editing mode. Now you have, give me a smiley face in the chat. Autocorrect in Word. You have, give me a smiley face. Awesome. Well, editing is just regular writing, like you would in Word. Well, up here, if you look at this little tab, it doesn't say editing if you've got a really, really small screen. If you look at this book and you switch to suggestion mode, out there in space who are looking at it, like Susan, Jessica, and Lynn, you guys change to as well. You make all your comments. And that black text, like before, it changes it to color and adds a comment with it automatically. Here is it you the autocorrect. That way you are like, if you're an English teacher and you're adding a comma or putting a capital letter, it lets the kids see the corrections you make and either choose to accept them or not. I love this because if you have group work and you have all the kids turn on suggestion mode, all their writing is in different colors and it's this visual kind of like smack in the face, I love one, of I haven't written anything on the group work yet. Everybody can see what everybody else did, holding them accountable. And the digital trick I'm going to give is all changes in Drive. Things about docs is everything is saved. Everything is saved. There's no, I kicked the cord and I lost my paper because every single change is saved. And you can, by clicking on all changes saved in Drive, it lets you overhear your sidebar all the changes. So if this was to be group work, I would totally know that my group is working really well because look, Jessica, Carrie, Elaine, Lisa, and Lynn, we all edited at the exact same time. You really see that everybody's making changes. And if it's in green, oh, Carrie, tell that Carrie wrote this gobbledygook. And come down and say, oh, purple, there's some purple on down here, that's Lisa. Come over and say, oh, everything written purple right here was done. Says color makes a huge difference for grading. Absolutely. Now, as you use this type of these tools as part of your co-writing, Jessica, can you explain a little of how you scaffolded and encouraged the collaboration between your students? Co-writing isn't something that they just pick up on. It should be explicitly taught.
I personally emphasize collaboration in my classroom. So when we got the Chromebooks and I was able to use Google, it really made everything so much easier. And even before we had Chromebooks, I was having my students in different classes choose to use Google Docs or Google Slides for presentations when they were writing with a group. And what it kind of came across, and it's true for any time we do something where we have expectations, we need our students to meet them, I just step back from just diving into the technology, and I really say to myself, what do my kids need to know in order to co-write, or how would they be successful on this project? So one thing I do, if, for example, we're working on an essay, and sometimes I'll have partner essays, I'll have one student write the intro and body paragraph 1, another student chooses to write the body paragraph 2 in conclusion, and they actually come together and comment on one another for changes. So in that sense, they're meeting the goals of the assignment and they are meeting my expectations of what I want for them. And I think with any assignment, I'm really sure to write clear directions up at the top of how to work as a group, because it's actually difficult. You know, we take for granted sometimes as adults, we're always in these group environments and we know what to do. Okay, we have to answer this question. I'm a quick learner. I got this. Carrie, you can be the one to get the conversation going. But kids always know that. So when using technology, it's the same thing we want to do with every other assignment on paper. That's really laying out a foundation. So what I made sure to just continue doing is setting up clear expectations and goals for each group member. And it doesn't mean I'm assigning a role per se, but it does mean every student is aware of what's necessary for that person to do to be successful with the topic.
A difference back in the day cooperative learning 20 years ago when I was a student intern and now. So feedback. So getting them started to collaborate is so much more about the offline process than even the online process. I think it really also is about getting the kids to trust each other a little too, because for me, I'm sitting here and typing in front of you. You might notice that sometimes my spelling is not the best. So how do you encourage that trust between kids?
It was back to the beginning, when a teacher uses or creates a collaborative environment, we want students to learn how to work together. We want students to learn how to take risks. And even with technology, we forget sometimes when we're so immersed in what we have to do with the computer, we forget it's not much different with the computer as it is in person. What I had to do when I started off with the big group doc, the class document, students were able to see, how they can edit and work together. And the more that kids do this, the more sense of understanding they have with the assignment itself or with their role within the assignment, they're going to be more comfortable to create and take risks.
Yes, teachers are going to, of course, take some risks along the way as well. Using this, adding a new in your CAF, a new tool in your repertoire, can always be challenging. I need to make sure we grow as well. I know, especially from the English perspective, there's a lot here that really adapt. I mean, if you're an English teacher out there and you heard you were getting Chromebooks, if that ends up being the case, I can't imagine one that isn't sharing that they don't have to sign for labs anymore. I mean, I just maybe sharing if I were them. But next step, that growth step is really where to go next. So we've done papers and we've done the co-writing. What's next? And so one of the things we asked Jessica before, so I'm able to post in the chat right now if anyone wants to look at it, and I'm going to pull it up on my screen as well, is the idea of the interactive worksheet. So I'm going to pull up. So Jessica, tell us, what is this and how do you use this?
Any other teacher, I started off like you were saying, okay, we can type a document, awesome, the kid didn't lose his or her paper, so I can grade it, which is a real benefit to any of us. I'm laughing at that. Once we reach that point and have the idea of collaboration, I thought to myself, if we're connected to the internet, we're connected to, this whole wide world of Google and beyond, I wanted my students to be able to interact with docs. And it took me a little bit of time to feel comfortable and actually take a step back. No matter if I was finding the newest apps every day and figuring out how to utilize them in all of my subjects, it really became more important going back to my pedagogy of how do I want to teach my students and my content knowledge. So in this sense, doc became just another way that the technology piece fit into the larger scope of what we wanted to teach. So the interactive worksheet, and we all kind of think of the word worksheet with a negative connotation to it. It's very different once it's created through Google. What you're looking at right now, I like to have a lot of puns and play with my AP language students. And I hope everyone is thinking, Too Late to Apologize, the Kanye West song. I do use a lot of music. It was my goal. So I also love memes. There's a little meme there as well. And all these little snippets, my students, number one, they're getting comfortable and figuring out we're not only using technology, I'm seeing it in front of me with more of their generation coming in. And if you scroll down, I give the task. This was actually my warm-up assignment for my AP students. I teach AP Lang 11th grade. And my goal was to have them write a strong thesis statement. So when you're looking at that, what you're seeing, I actually utilized where it says all changes have been saved. You can start to see how I changed my thesis statement through 4 tries. The 4th one shows them my wordplay and how I got to a stronger thesis. So I allowed students independent think time to kind of approach that. We talked about it together, what kind of changes I made. And then added a link, and this is where it becomes interactive. It's not just my students looking at my work. When I clicked on this, this is something called Padlet. It's really easy to use. I was so afraid to try something new. Again, one more thing in my plate I thought was going to break me, but I love Padlet. It's very simple. And what students were able to then do is post their thesis statements. So we went from having a document that they could view to having it in front of them as class discussion to then having it linked to an interactive site. We were then taking that and piecing it together in terms of the class dialogue. ended up doing in a greater scheme is interactive in a way that, one, I chose for this site or for this document to connect to Padlet, but helps me link to anything, whether it's YouTube videos, whether it's articles that I want my students to read, whether for even my 9th grade, it's, okay, I want you to go to this website and get definitions to figure out what we're talking about and put it in your own words, which I actually did today. So it opens up the web for a lot of student interpretation. And again, once you've built that trust in, they're going to go to the link and be able to explore and feel confident about their answers. And if you go back to the document, what I had at the very end was a really fantastic video. I think social studies teachers should see this. It's a YouTube video that actually has the Declaration of Independence with a, I guess, satire piece or spoof piece using Kanye West's song. So that was how I introduced the Declaration of Independence. My kids were absolutely laughing. It was a lot of fun. It took what could have been a very basic Google Doc and translated it into a way that is crossing different types of media. It's giving think time for students to be able to go onto Padlet and create their, that's the king of England there, you know, and create their own ideas. So it incorporates so much that if I were to ask students to have done this, it would write down your thesis on a sheet of paper, now trade with someone, now talk about it, and use that all the time still. But in this sense, it was able to speed up dialogue, and we were able to tackle the main piece, which was how do you strengthen a thesis statement. So going on to Padlet from that link, we discussion in probably 10 minutes. You should really watch it if you need a good chuckle at some point.
Actually, teacher, I'm chuckling as well. I will say I concur with that. And I want everybody too. I put links in. That was a skill I wanted to make sure I showed you. I want to show you how simple it is. One, I love this video right here. This is fantastic. So I can come up and copy the link, which I did. A little wider there. I will show you how easy it is to get links in here. I'm going to copy this link, come back document, press paste. I have links. But I've also done this, and this is something I just find really cool. I don't use it nearly as much, but it's cool. I'll show you. I could start typing here and typing birds. It's a search and find links about birds. So if you know what you're looking for, I was helping a teacher who's doing something on RP a while back, and to go to their site, you could actually start typing it, and it will write the links for you. So put a link in, getting to interactive worksheets here is kind of that next step, evolution, but it's not a huge, giant jump up step. It's pretty controllable.
It's important to remember, you know, even myself, I view myself as someone who has been using technology the 8 years I've been teaching. And I spoke about how I wanted to jump into getting the apps, and my husband finally had to put me to bed at night because it's 2 in the morning and I'm trying to see what to find. And just so many ways in which to utilize what Google has, and Docs is something that can really very easily go beyond just typing and turning something in, and it's a great launching pad, and even with all of the other things that I have, I still go back to it all the time.
One more thing for some of our veteran folks out there, one more thing from these as well. I took out the pictures you'll see in our Getting Started with Docs conversation we had here. And you'll kind of see it has a lot of colors in it. I do have to admit, for this one, I'm going to change everything to basic because the colors aren't here. But I do want to show you something really cool called DraftBack. It's an extension that you can add from that MCPS Chrome store. And if you click on it, what DraftBack does is it renders a little video of the stored document. So kids, if they're writing a paper, which is really very texty, right? It goes and makes them a little video. They can click a view, and it shows the history of their document. So you see me writing, this is me kind of, you know, my notes. This is what we started as a group, but you'll start to see when yours comes in. So what DraftBack lets you do is it lets the kids see the history of their document It can real speed or not speed. There's some graphics and statistics that let you in here as well. And how cool is it when a kid spends, what, a month, in some cases, that giant junior year English page, even if they ever get rid of it? I was at MCPS, I remember it. You could see the total history of what you wrote and what it looked like for the kids, and see all the work they put into it. And note self, you can also see if lots of stuff gets cut and pasted in, because it will be an indication that maybe their work isn't all their own. Now, if there's any questions about the stuff I showed you, something you'd like to see again, or just a thought, like, hey, this is what I'm thinking right now, throw that. If you don't, give me a smiley face, because then we'll know we can kind of move to our next segment, which is going to be tours. Think of them as detours versus roadblocks, because we all run into them. That doesn't stop us from getting home or driving to the beach. It just means we need to work around them. So Jess and I were talking a little bit, and I kind of heard for where did she think some of her detours were. And one of her first one was toggling. And I'm going to give an example on what that means. Toggling is when, and let me share my screen again real fast, is when kids need to, or humans, need to go from app to app. So you're looking at online tools with Kathy Schrock here, and I'm like, oh, I'm looking at this, and I toggle back over to my untitled document to write. And this is something that's really tough, particularly for kids who like to see, maybe you wanted to edit your thesis and let Padlet at the same time. They're really jumping back and forth, and that's annoying. One thing we've done is if they're taking notes, they box the reading and have them type notes on the computer, or vice versa. But we want to go paperless. We want to help you. So one of the detours is a really cool extension called Size. It's here once you add it. And what it lets you do is pick out your screen to show up. And to have two documents size. So I click what it did. It popped my document here and gave me Google over here. So if I was trying to toggle between watching the YouTube video and taking notes at the same time, how cool would that be? I don't have to toggle back and forth. It does it real fast. It just facilitates. As I'm watching my doc, I can take my notes. So detours we give you is, if you're having trouble with something, there might be an app for that. You can ask your mentors, your colleagues, and your instructional technology specialists. Send us an email here at Appy Hour, and maybe we'll do a whole show on a detour for you. So, of course, is using a cool app called Tab Resize. How to get it, you could just type Tab Resize. Or Google. It's Google. Go to search. Here's Tab Resize. And you add it. I'm going to make it because if you want to see the whole thing. You can click on this little button. It's blue, and it'll say free for you. Click on it. Add it. It'll be great. The big blocker that we talked about was behavior management and having control in the classroom. Scott, you want to real quick kind of give us your perspective on this? Because I hear a lot. I hear people say, I want to control what my students are doing. Do you have control when you use these tools? What do you think?
I absolutely think we do, and I think a lot of it was just changing my mindset where, you know, I went and I thought, okay, I have classroom management, I have control over the students and their seats. It'd be the same in the virtual environment. So I would absolutely stress Hapara as a great tool, again, to kind of see what students are doing. But it's also remembering we have the ability to change a lesson, to do something differently if it's going to work for a different classroom. I do have classrooms where I absolutely can create a PowerPoint or, you know, a Google slide or a doc and have everyone on it. And then there are classes where it's too much. It does become chaotic. It becomes more a challenge than necessary for me to use it. So I think it's remembering that with the technology piece, we can change any part of the technology to fit the needs of our classroom. So it means this assignment may not be interactive with another student today. Instead, I'm going to have them interact and, like you were just showing, toggling between something or finding a new app. I will have them work in groups, which one of my classes is great at using a shared document for 2 or 3 students, and I don't let it get bigger than that. So I think it's just remembering that, you know, whatever we do to be successful in the real classroom absolutely transfers over a technology piece. And I also needed to remind myself that if I had to change a lesson, I'm not failing with the technology. I was meeting the needs of my students. And I think sometimes we get so inundated where we have to use the technology. Again, it goes back to the TPAC, which I know you're going to discuss. It's what's important, and that's going to be the learning piece. It's going to be bringing my classroom together and collaborating in ways I feel they'll be successful. Technology is just another avenue in which we can students to do what we need them to do, and that's learn.
You touched on our second one there, which of course is the balance. And that going back to my last little slide here was keep the main thing the main thing. If that float down the lately. So the main thing is always the instruction. That what the kids need to learning and able to do, and making the right matches at the right time. Well, that's master teaching. And all of our Googlers out there, we want to make sure you are all about the instruction. So we're going to jump into a new feature here on Appy Hour from the confidential file of the integration continuum. Kind of TPAC comes out of it. I am posting a link to the Florida Technology Matrix. And this is new to you. I will not do it justice right now. Forgive me, but I will let you know that there's kind of 5 phases here. Entry, at beginning use, what do you do first? And we've touched on that today. Adaptation, and that's really, you've always used it to write papers, and now you're using it again. Adaptation and fusion transformation. Our focus today is on infusion. And always, when I first started looking at this, I always felt like infusion was really hot. Like, man, the teacher learning context and the students choose the technology tools. I always thought of this as I give them an assignment to show what they know, and they had to pick between 10 different technology tools. I always felt like it was really high end. It is. As you expose them to an app or a skill or a technique, they have the option to choose it. They have the option to use it. Infusion isn't about the big things. It's actually about the little things. So in our edition of our confidential file, I'll tell you about 3 little actions. Kids with communicating. If you use speech recognition, which add on in Docs, Dictate, which is an app, or the attention speech pad, it's the number you've used in the chat. 1, 2, or 3. If you've used them all, 1, 2, 3, and feel free to jump in the chat and give your perspective. If you use any of them, give me a smiley face. Well, how are you going to be today? I always told my students when they say they don't know something, I used to say, thank goodness I have a job. I will teach it to you. So let's show you these 3 cool ones real fast and give you a quick up on this guy right here. Oh, everyone can say hi to my Anna. She just got off the bus. Hi, Anna. Hi. She was playing around with him yesterday, so she's a fantastic learner in that sense. I'm going to show them to you real fast. One is Docs. Let me get ourselves to Docs. Here I am at Docs, and here's my add-on. It's called, I go down here, Speech Recognition Start. It's so awesome because you find kids who want in and just talk. So you press start, and now I can see everything that's going on, and it will type it on the screen at the same time. Been using these apps to actually, he's dyslexic, and he uses these to write his journal entries. It just, you know what, when it comes time to write a real paper, he sits down and deals with the keyboard. You know what? We have them write a lot to process information. So he uses that as a way to facilitate his learning. It's infused. In fact, it might even be transformational for him. It's an add-on called speech recognition. This is called Dictation.io. It's an app in our Chrome store. And what this will do, I'm going to clear here. Tool, period. In some ways, it's even better than speech recognition because it picks up on punctuation, period. New paragraph. It's not perfect, comma, but nobody is, comma, and we try our best to do better, period, new paragraph. It's not perfect. I've got a period I've got to clean up here. I could dictate my information, export it to Google Docs, and do a journal entry or a writing assignment. And third guy here actually looks like a little Pac-Man. It's called SpeechPad. And SpeechPad lets you do, let me go to my Twitter account, is it'll let you dictate in all those small social media boxes of our world. Click and click in the box. Speech. Add your information, period. Should I go in there? Oh, that was too fast. So if I want to tweet, I could tweet an awesome happy hour, exclamation point. Wish you joined us. Hi. And I tweet it right now. In fact, I am my first live happy hour tweet. There we go. So 3 apps from our confidential technology integration folder: speech recognition, dictation, and SpeechPad. And are hanging at the MCPS Chrome store. I'm going to turn it over to Lynn to give us a quick heads up on 2 apps before we wrap up.
Hello. So I'm going to talk about 2 apps. I'm not sure if Jessica really got into this, but one of the things she mentioned when we were talking before is how important it is for students to have identification with their account. So making an avatar toward the beginning, when they first get their account, is a way to really personalize what they're doing. And so there's an app that you can get from the App Store. It is approved, and it's called Photos Share. So you've got to put that S on the end when you do your search, and it's fun. And if everybody looks in the lower left hand of their screen, that's Jessica's personal avatar. That's actually what she uses on her account, and that's kind of look like her. She's got the nice long pretty hair. And the right-hand side doesn't look much like me. However, I did the best I could, and that's my avatar that I built using Photo Share. So it's a fun one. Everybody should have an avatar. Nobody should have a little blue head for the Google account. Who is with me? Yes. So if you don't have a photo that you want to put up there, then you can make yourself a super cool avatar, and you can use this particular app to do it. You are correct. It's helped build a classroom community. So, because they've got their cool little avatar. All right, and another one that I wanted to share with you, just really quickly, is Storybird. And this is awesome for your writers. Because what it does, it's an app that you can install, and you can write and write and write. And what it does is it provides beautiful artwork you can start your story with. So you can search for different topics, and you can then build your story around these pictures, and you can pick different pictures to import and put into it as you build your story. And it's great for students at any level really, but Jessica uses it, and Jessica, join me if you wish, in the high school level, and it really does provide a lot of space for students to get their thinking down.
It was really fun. I'm just going to jump in quickly. I used this last year. It was one of the first apps I found, and I used this for the 10th grade sci-fi fantasy unit 4. And I found that, number one, the art is absolutely gorgeous. It takes very little time to get used to the program, and when my students were having to write a more creative piece, it helps them come up with ideas. So if they got stuck, it was almost a help against writer's block. They're kind of turned around a little bit differently. And, you know, we talk about the importance of publishing our work and being able to share it. It's something that's so different, and you can actually share this, what looks like a book, by the time you're done.
I send it. All right, Kate, back over to you.
As much, and I will share that Storybird is looking to be a focus of an upcoming Appy Hour. So if that's an interest to you, make sure you stay connected with us. Or we want to stay connected with you. Our moment of Zen, we connect you to more support and guidance. First of all, every school has an instructional technology specialist. Here's Lisa, Lynn, I are avatars. So if you need help, contact us. We're up for planning. We'll pop to your classroom. We'll help you out. We'll give you good ideas, and we hope to speed up the learning curve. Know what awesome stuff you're doing out there, and not only do we want to know about it so we can share, we want to come in and help you get to that next level a little bit faster. That's what we're when you hang out in a Montgomery County Public School Drive, you can search your drive and get answers to questions. We set up feedback sheets and guides and videos, so don't be afraid to search and look for stuff. Regular Google. I mean, we do it all the time. But there's answers out there, and most of these apps have fantastic built-in PDs for you. And go to our Appy Hour site. We post all of our recordings for Appy Hours. We've got actually, I think we have about 20 of them saved right now. So if this was interesting to you and it's your first time, you can go back and check out our site. With a special feature going with getting started with slides, getting started with forms, and now getting started with docs. So they're a place to start. But don't think to stay getting started. We've got other cool apps out there like Hapara, Critical Inquiry, and Writing with Docs. Sorry, just writing in general. And you can follow us. Lynn, Lisa, and I are kind of your interpreters, if you will. You can follow us on Twitter, and we will tweet and remind you about all this, about the hours and good stuff. And if you do something cool, share it with us on Twitter with the hashtag #GasAppyHour. We are looking for more awesome guest presenters like Jessica. And one of the ways we find you is by you telling us what you're doing in the classroom. Thank you so much to everyone for attending today. It was great to get folks on with us. I know we went a little longer than we normally do on this one, but hopefully you found it to be really, really useful and helpful. Before you go, when you close out of your window, when you go X and close out, a Google form, in fact, we'll ask you how we did today, if you liked it, and for your feedback. Please make sure you take it. How we give attendance. So you an hour in PDO for your time today. And we know who you are because you took our form. And even if you're watching this on a recording, please take our form and let us know you liked what we did, you didn't feedback, and we'll give you an hour of PDO time. Now, we wrap up. I actually always like to ask our hosts and my co-hosts to pop on and give any parts or feedback. Lisa, I never pulled you up, so I'm going to pull up right now and see if you have any parting shots for folks before we go today. So, Jessica, you guys want to jump in and give some parting thoughts?
I just want to say congrats to every teacher who decides to kind of jump into the Google Docs and Google Apps for Education boat. I hope everyone remembers we all started somewhere, which was at none. We did not use apps or Google, and it takes time, but there's so many people to help out, and there's so many ways this can really strengthen the education. So I just give a lot of credit to everyone who's jumped on board.
This is Lisa. I agree with Jessica. Can you hear me, actually?
We
Okay. One of my big aha with Promethean and now with Google is necessarily more with the quality of what you do. So pick a few things and jump in. Like Carrie said, we're definitely here to help you. We love to help. Just get in touch.
Excited that we had a new user on and she was actually able to get in. So yay.
Ooh, and so folks have that tells you how easy this can be with just the right support. A user jumps in on these Appy hours. We know they are fast-paced. We intend folks to watch and pause and to revisit, giving just enough TV show style. But if she can do it, you can do it. So that'll be my parting shot, which is you need to start. It doesn't need huge. It doesn't need a whole period. It doesn't need to be some giant lesson. In fact, you're better off if it isn't. Start small, gain comfort, and keep challenging yourself. And we'll be here to help you with that.
And you said this, Carrie, but tomorrow is another Appy hour at 3:50, and it's all about the inquiry projects that a lot of the apps do. But the apps that we're going to talk about are so relevant for K through 12. Lynn and I have been going out to schools and front-load kids with some of these apps so that they can complete their third and fourth marking period inquiry projects. So it should be a good one.
Hearing this in podcast style, it will also be linked from our support site, and we'll tweet about it. So thanks, everybody, for coming today. It's great. You can close your windows and have an awesome rest of your afternoon. Let me give a little extra shout out. I'm sure, Lynn, you probably turned the recording by now, but from our audience, a second shout especially to Jessica for coming on board with us. You did a really awesome job today. Thank you so much.